welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering small businesses such as yourselves and hand-holding and guiding you in your growth journey. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, in keeping with our overall theme of Children's Day, we are featuring young entrepreneurs. Some as young as 16, the first entrepreneur coming up tonight. I'm in conversation with Vectors Publication. Also in the hot seat tonight, we have MetroRide. In my introduction, I was talking about young entrepreneurs, some still in their teens, who are doing successful businesses and being successful entrepreneurs. One such is the one who's joining us live here on the show, Anand Mane of Vectors Publications, here with us. Anand, good having you on the show, and congratulations on seeing success in your business so young. Let's really start by talking about your entrepreneurial journey, what it means also for you to be such a young entrepreneur.
So, Vectors Publication, I would term Vectors Publication as my brainchild. Vectors Publication goes way back. My granddad was the one who got me into writing, and that's when I actually thought about publishing my own book. During the lockdown of 2020, I published my first book, which was also coincidentally a bestseller. Also, entrepreneurship was something I always wanted to do, and Vectors Publication obviously gave me the opportunity to test myself in the field of entrepreneurship. That's when I actually started, and it was just that I wanted to help more and more writers become published authors. So that's my story, how Vectors started.
Why did you decide to start something in the publishing business, Anand? I'm very curious.
Okay, so my inspiration is my grandfather, my paternal granddad, who actually was a writer in his time, and he always wanted to publish his book, which he never actually could. But then I published my book under the mentorship of him, and that's about it.
It's not very often that we ask entrepreneurs to join us here on the show to talk about how they're managing work along with school or college, but I have to ask you that question about how you manage both and how you've managed to still scale your business.
Okay, so Vectors Publication at the point operates in the hybrid publishing model, which comes right between the orthodox publishing model and the newer self-publishing model. We get the best of both worlds. It is very economical for the publisher as well. It is easy on the author too. And when it comes to managing school and my startup, there's allocated time for it, and I make sure I do everything right.
Help us understand more on the hybrid publishing model, Anand.
The hybrid publishing model comes right between, as I said, the orthodox and the self-publishing model. The orthodox or the traditional publishing model is where the publisher scouts for an author, and the self-publishing model is where the author finds for the publisher. The traditional, you don't have much control on your content when you're in the traditional mode of publishing, and it is not very pocket friendly when you're doing the self-publishing. So we came up with the hybrid publishing model, which is both economical for the publisher, which is us, and our clients, which are the authors.
Finances and funding is a challenge for any entrepreneur. Is it any different for someone who's as young as you when it comes to perhaps raising funds, speaking with investors, etc.? What's that experience and journey been like?
I guess it's mostly a lot of finance podcasts which I listen to. Also, we aren't dealing with a lot of finances at the point. So I do have a basic knowledge of finances through my dad. And he actually taught me about how stocks are done and all that. So I watch a lot of all the stock channels, and I do a lot of investing too.
Talk to us about the process of incorporating newer authors, Anand. What's that process like, really?
Okay, so as soon as we have an author on board with us, We nurture the author with our mentoring sessions. We teach them how to cultivate the story from a manuscript to a full published book. We have in-house designers who come up with ideas for the interiors of the books, the book covers, how could they be presented better. Then we obviously have our in-house editors and proofreaders, which make sure that there's not a single error in the reader's experience. This is how we actually welcome, like we get in the authors, and like it's a whole process from which a writer actually becomes an author, which is two different terms.
We've been talking about your USP, which is being someone who's so young and seen the kind of success that you have. But let's talk about your business as well and the USP of Vectors Publications.
So basically, we treat the authors the best. We give our authors full creative control. They own the copyrights of all the books. We do not own any copyrights of any book published. It's all them, and we obviously have a great team, which makes the publishing experience much more better.
Despite being so new, you have to keep your eye on quality. Just talk to us about how you continue to keep your eye and focus on quality.
Vectors has a great distribution chain. We distribute to Amazon, Flipkart in India, and Walmart and Barnes Noble in the US, UK, and Canada. We have books which have made it to the Amazon bestseller list, the Amazon hot book list. So definitely the content is at its best, and it's all about how good the content is.
Before we end tonight's conversation, I'd want to ask you about the name of your company, Vectors. Where's the inspiration for that? How did that come about? Is there a story that you can share with us?
Vectors, in basic physics terms, like when you express it, is its magnitude into direction. The direction is what matters, and we provide direction to the writers to become authors. That's what went into naming it Vectors.
How do you ensure that you're also giving back to society?
Vectors Publication is partnered with numerous amount of NGOs in Bangalore. We publish books for underprivileged girls in the STEM subjects, which STEM is one of the major contenders in. I guess it's one of the best career fields and one of the biggest subjects in the world. I mean. And we contribute by making resource books for the textbooks provided by the state government, and we've distributed to 4 schools at the point, and we aim to doing it all over the state and the country soon. Our project was obviously validated by Mr. Yuvraj Malik, the director of the National Book Trust. Government of India based in New Delhi.
I want to understand from you about the integration really of entrepreneurship as a taught subject when it comes to curriculums. We do teach management, but entrepreneurship and management, is that something that needs to be incorporated more and more?
Obviously, the curriculum in India, we do not really have that much flexibility of having entrepreneurship and management subjects integrated in like the K-12 education system, but entrepreneurship plays a major role in everyone's lives unknowingly. I mean, it teaches us how to take risks, how to sustain, and how to like just be like responsible. I would love to see more of management subjects in the curriculum. India is obviously a land of bright minds, and when it comes to the teenage part of lives, they're like the building blocks to adulthood. Running a successful startup takes immense determination and responsibility to like sustain the startup through troubled times and all that. It would just increase the intelligence of teenagers, and I think more and more teenagers should actually step up and do such things. It would contribute to India's economy in some form of way. There are obviously government schemes and incubation centers present, very accessible now for teenagers also, where they could just pitch their ideas, gain mentorship, even get a funding now. I guess we would be in the right way if more and more teenagers actually did more of these projects. I would love to see more and more teenagers do entrepreneurship or help in some form of way.
If you can help us understand more about being a young entrepreneur, about being a teenager when it comes to the entrepreneurial ecosystem, what's your experience been like? What's your advice?
I guess it's just trust the process. There's obviously going to be a lot of problems when you start, but organically, like naturally, you're going to be a better person when you get out of the process of it, and like through the process, there are a lot of ups and downs which keep happening, and like majoritarily, you obviously have to balance it out with your academics and all that. You need to have like a set allocated time for everything. It makes you like a better person with like in many ways. Like you could like have better time management, and you will obviously manage your time well when you have something like a startup and your academics.
All right, Anand, good having you on the show. Thanks for your time. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to continue focusing on young entrepreneurs. MetroRide coming up on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Tonight, we're continuing our focus on young entrepreneurs. In this segment is MetroRide. Girish Nagpal of MetroRide joining us here on the show. Girish, thank you for your time. And the business that you're in and the model that you have is very needed for our congested cities. So just talk to us about the model and how you're looking at decongesting urban areas, metros, cities like ours.
Well, MetroRide is a platform, electric mobility platform, which makes life of a daily commuter easy by making public transport accessible and seamless. So we are a first and last mile player which connect you to the closest metro stations, the local train stations or the bus stations. So what we essentially are doing is ensuring that people use more and more public transport, because today if you look at everybody is talking about electric mobility adoption, EVs, but though we are an electric mobility platform, but we are very clear from day one that electric vehicles are not the only solution, because if you just replace all the ICE vehicles on road with electric, you will still have the same congestion, you will still have the same urban mobility issues. So for us, we are very clear that public transport is the only sustainable solution for our urban mobility woes, and that's what MetroRide is dedicated to. So we ensure that people are enabled to use public transport more and more. And how do we do this is, if the biggest challenge if you look at is that people are not able to use public transport because the first and last mile connectivity is broken, and that's where MetroRide comes and helps you to reach your closest metro rail station or your local suburban train station. And we do this using our 100% electric fleet of vehicles which connect you to the closest using, of course, our technology-based platform. And that's how we decongest the cities, not only for the first and last mile, but also by using public transport, there would be a lot, cities would become a lot greener. So that's what our endeavor is.
Talk to us also about the very intelligent technology that you're using to ensure that, batteries, for instance, are not being overcharged, etc. How does that process really work? And really talk to us about the technology.
Sure. So from the day one, we were very clear when we were building MetroRide that we are not building a transport company, but we are building a tech platform. So that essentially meant that we had to do everything in a way that it becomes scalable using technology. And while we were onboarding electric vehicles, we saw there is a huge challenge in especially with two-wheelers that I'm sure you would have heard that there were a lot of unfortunate incidents which happened with the battery blast and stuff. So what we do to prevent that is that we integrate the BMS of the battery with our backend systems, with our technology solution, so that we every single point of time have access to what is the, let's say, the charge of the battery, what is the temperature of the battery, how is the health of the battery. So in case there is something which needs intervention, we are able to do that immediately, and that avoids any unfortunate incidents. And not only that, it also helps us bring in a lot of business use cases. For example, we realized that though our drivers were using electric vehicles very efficiently, but there was still this inherent or hidden range anxiety, and we noticed that because they were swapping the batteries very often, much more than required. So even if the battery, let's say SOC is running at 50%, the driver will be forced, or he, just because of his range anxiety, he will go and swap the battery, which to me is a business loss because he's running those dead miles, right, and dead minutes. So how we have solved is using the BMS integration. We can now decide, or we decide when is a driver going to go for a swap rather than he himself deciding. So this also helped us really not only in safeguarding but also in the business side of things.
You've reached a landmark of nearly 5 lakh users since your launch. That was earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. So, what has that really been like? Talk to us about that milestone, and what is the way forward looking like?
Sure. It's been, I would say, a roller coaster, a lot of lows and highs, like in any entrepreneur journey. We recently finished 600,000 rides, actually not just 5 lakh, 6 lakh rides of our operations. And right from day one, it has been the two KPIs which we had decided, because the whole solution was built for the daily commuter. And before launching, I come from marketing and strategy background, so I was very clear we got to understand who we are serving and what do they need, and build everything according to that need itself. And the two KPIs which our market survey gave us were, one was because these were daily commuters, so they needed affordability, because it's not that once in a while I'm going to use this service, but every single day and multiple times in a day. So that was very, very essential, that the service had to be affordable. And most people who use public transport, again, there is enough data available which showcases that more often than not, even in urban cities, these are the people who are making 50,000 rupees a month or less. Now, for that kind of TG, affordability becomes a much bigger need. So that was our key KPI. And the second thing was, again, because these are daily commuters traveling to work or college, the wait time had to be minimal, because if you have a class at 10 o'clock or you have to punch your card in your office at 10 o'clock, it can't be 10:01 itself, right? So the wait time had to be minimal, and these were the two KPIs we've built the whole MetroRide architecture around. And glad to share that over these 600,000 rides which we've served in the last 1 year, our average wait time was just over 2 minutes, 2 minutes 1 second to be precise, which is substantially better than the industry average of 14 minutes. And that is one of the biggest reasons that we have almost 100% retention of our daily customers.
You've recently also included Hyderabad EV two-wheelers as well. So really talk to us about that market and the plans there.
Sure. So MetroRide currently is operational in 3 cities, namely Delhi, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Right. So how we differentiate ourselves is because you have a lot of ride-hailing services doing some amazing job in the urban mobility space. But if you look at the public transport, it is still running under capacity, and the biggest reason is that all the private solutions run in silos and in a way compete with public transport. So MetroRide, on the contrary, collaborates with the public transit systems. So Hyderabad was a recent launch wherein we have done a joint GTM with Hyderabad Metro, and we've joined hands to ensure that the ridership of Metro in Hyderabad increases. And Hyderabad Metro has been really supportive and they've given us a lot of help to ensure that we are able to serve the metro commuters there. So how this collaboration helps is, one, we are able to get the customers organically. So in a way, I have a zero acquisition cost, because at the station itself, we get access to the consumers. And going forward, we are also integrating our technology app with theirs, so that for a consumer, it becomes end-to-end seamless booking. So if you want to use, let's say, Metro, and you want to go from your home to office, you can book end-to-end journey, which is the first mile, the metro mile, and the last mile on a single app within a single click. That will, we feel, really change the whole game, because daily commuter, if he can use public transport and book in a single click without any hassles of haggling, cash, unpredictability, or high or surge prices, all of that gets eliminated. And this is what our launch in Hyderabad is proving. And within 4 months, we've seen that there were 10% of our customers, this again is an internal survey which was done, and 10% of our customers actually said that they were not using Metro earlier. So that validates our whole philosophy of enabling public transport, making public transport accessible. And we are really glad that this has been proved by data itself, what we are trying to build. And collaborating with public transit agencies, ensuring that people use public transport, I think, is the only sustainable way to grow our cities. Otherwise, you will have more and more cars, you will have more and more pollution, which is going to make it worse itself, right? We are seeing what is happening in Delhi. It really makes me so sad that those kids are not able to go to school. People are not move out of their offices. The air quality index has gone so bad, and other cities are also not too far, right? So we believe pollution from traffic is one of the biggest reasons for that, and using public transport, it can definitely be reduced, and our cities can become better.
All right, Girish, one last question. For someone who's perhaps looking at this space, what advice would you have for them?
So entrepreneurship, I would say, is not easy, because this is the startup era, and everybody sees the swanky or the glam side of it. And one of the biggest reasons for this is, of course, the media is now talking about entrepreneurs. But when you're committing to something, it is very, very important that you know what you're getting into it. So yes, there is a lot of thrill, there is a lot of adventure, but you need a lot of dedication, you need a lot of commitment, you need a lot of sacrifices if you have to build a company from scratch. And one big thing which I see not many young people taking entrepreneurship is our Indian culture of this failure, I would say, being averse to failure. Because right from our school days, you remember when you fail in a class, you become a very different human being to the whole social circle, right? And whereas failure, if you look at, I don't know anybody who's succeeded without failure, right? And if you have failed, let's say in class 5, class 6, there is a stigma attached to it, and people will still make fun of you even if you're doing well in your professional career. So failure in general, I think, is a very, very over emphasis which has been given in our society, whereas failure should be a part of our life. Every child should be okay to fail, is what I feel. That's, I think, a very cultural thing. And the only advice I can give to parents and young entrepreneurs and even children is that it's okay to fail.
Girish, so good having you on the show. Thank you for your time. Completely out of time on tonight's episode. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.